Alright guys, in this video it's going to be a little bit different. We're going over a YouTube video. What do you mean, Tiqqle? Well, guys, I'm doing this new thing where I'm going to open up the floor for anybody that wants to send me their video to do a review of the gameplay, give feedback, and basically go over a few games for them in like a 10-minute video for them. So to be able to do that, number one, huge shout out to Goon. Goon put himself out there. He said, "Let me upload a few videos," and he did. Let me show you very quickly how to upload videos, and then we're going to get into the video review. Number one, you need to be able to record your video. To record a video, you need something like Streamlabs. This is a streaming program, but also does a lot of things. I use it for streaming. I also use it for video recording. You have to quickly set it up, and if you have any questions about setting it up, put that in the comments, but it's very easy. You just set up a few things, and you're pretty much good, and you click record. Look, it's recording right now. Oh. Well, that's about it, and then you record your video. It saves it, and then what you need to do is you need to go to YouTube. If you just go to the main page, there's a button up here. Click this, upload video, upload it, mark it as not listed. It'll go in there, and there'll be a link to share it, and you just send it to me, send it to anybody. I'm sure there will be, everyone on YouTube would love to look at your stuff. Well, maybe, I don't know. I guess I'm really excited to do it. I'm really excited for you guys to be interested. But if you guys upload it, send it to me, send me the link in Discord or anything else. I put all the links for all this stuff below. That's how you can upload your content super easy. And then I'll review it for you. So that's basically it. That's how to upload it. Now let's get into the actual video of recording this. Also, shout out to Icy Veins. I've been working with Icy Veins. My Ellie Shaman PvP guide is up there. It's for 8.0, but it will be updated for 8.1, so make sure to check it out. Link in the description. Now let's get into this review. Okay, so this is Goon. Goon's a Demon Hunter. He's playing Demon Hunter Disc Priest. I've already talked to him a little bit about this video, so spoiler. We already talked a little bit about it. But basically, with his UI, it's going to be a little hard for me to see all his abilities, but his buffs are top left. All right, he's playing with a Disc Priest. They're against a Resto Shaman Survival Hunter. Now, I don't want to pause it too long. I got some feedback. I should keep the thing going. But basically, in this setup, with a Disc Priest does a ton of damage. They need to be pumping damage. Demon Hunter does a lot of consistent pressure with either okay pressure out of meta or in meta from I-Beam build or just Metamorphosis. You can do a ton of damage. So those are his windows for damage. His Disc Priest needs to be lining up Dark Archangel with whenever he's in meta. Probably his big meta. When I say big or small meta, DHs have an I-Beam meta, which is like 10 seconds. And then they also have their skill, which leaps and activates them into Metamorphosis, which lasts for like 20, 30 seconds, 15, 20, 30, whatever it is, for a long time. And when you're in meta, your abilities change, and you super pump during that time period. So that's your only big cooldown as a DH. There's also mana burn. There's mana burn that he can be doing on cooldown. You use stun into mana burn for the Resto Druid. That's going to deplete his mana. They could go for the long game ooming, but with a Disc Priest, you usually don't do that. You would go for pressure. So he can mana burn, but there's also mana rift, which actually does a lot of damage. It depends on the amount of mana the healer has. So again, if it's not supposed to be a long game, then he could use that, especially if the mana bar is getting down for the Resto Druid. But otherwise, they need to apply a lot of pressure. That's their goal, is pressure game. 2v2 in general is a pressure game. The game right now in general is an overall pressure game. They need to be doing a ton of damage. Now, for the Resto Druid survival, they're going to be looking to get some, well, maybe. They could be looking to get some CC change with Cyclones and Traps and Bash. There's also Pet Stun. There's a lot of things that they can do in terms of crowd control. Survival Hunters do a ton of damage. So that's something else. Resto Druids can actually do a ton of damage. So depending on their play style, they're going to have to respond. But their goal should be pump the damage. A little bit different than Enhance, but has a ton of damage on procs and Sundering. DH is mostly going to be a constant pressure. So let's see what happens with the beginning of the game. Now, on the beginning, Goon's rushing in. He's going to do something. I already saw this video once. He goes ahead. He sees the Druid out there. He uses his stealth sight, which is okay. I mean, it's not the biggest deal to get the Druid out. If the Druid actually stays in stealth for a very long time, you can see that the Hunter has some hots on him. But in general, if the Druid stays in stealth, I'm not really too worried about it. They need to worry about doing a ton of damage. So they need to be pumping the Hunter probably. If I would recommend, if I was looking, if I was going into the setup, I would ignore the Druid. You might, okay, or you could get him out if the Druid has no hots and go him, but it's like not the biggest deal. You could start pumping immediately, because some people like playing in stealth way too long, and it's going to force the Druid to come out, and if you can keep, keeping positioning. So he should probably pump. The other thing about Demon Hunters is Demon Hunters have a purge ability. If you guys didn't know this, they do. It should be part of your main rotation because it generates a ton of fury, which is your resource, and it doesn't cost anything. That's the ridiculous part. It just generates fury. Well, it doesn't make sense. It's overpowered. All right, here we go. All right, so we see what he's about to do. He goes ahead. Okay, so this is a not a kind of a misplay. So Goon saw the druid over in this direction, so he pops Metamorphosis. This is actually a really big cooldown, a 2 to 3 minute cooldown, and it's active for 30 seconds. But there was no reason to use it right now. There's no reason. It's actually a waste of time to use that and go over here, because you don't know where he is exactly, and you'll see what happens. But he should just start hitting the hunter, and just start peeling off those hots. The Disc Priest also has a purge, so what should have happened in this opener is Disc Priest is spam purging the hunter. Goon is purging the hunter, and they're just damage. He's gonna be, the hunter's gonna be screaming for his healer to come out. So okay, so here we go. I'll try to talk a little bit less. But anyway, so and then he also uses one of his biggest damaging abilities to try to get out of stealth. That's also not worth it. That is a ability called Blade Dance. Blade Dance is actually one of your top damaging abilities, because if you're stacking the Azurite traits, what it does is it does a ton of damage to that target that you're doing it on, but then it leaves the damage over time. So it's a huge #1 priority ability to use, maybe competing with I-Beam, but that is, you don't want to use that to guess. You need to use that to connect and do pressure. And as you can see, no one's really done a lot of damage. In the bottom right, you can see like Goon hasn't really done a lot of damage. The hunter I don't know what the hunter's doing. He hasn't really done a lot of damage. I'm trying to see if there's a trap. No, doesn't look like any trap. So we see Goon. Okay, Goon's like, all right, I guess I have to hit the hunter. He's used 5 seconds off of his meta form. Not worth. So the other thing is with I-Beam does a lot of damage, but when you're already in meta form, you don't want to I-Beam. You want to use Chaos Strike, you want to use Blade Dance, you want to use that damaging abilities. Save I-Beam for when you fall out of meta, you can get back into it by I-Beaming. So we'll see what he does. There's a lot of tips here, and I'm going really fast, but these are some kind of key things, and I think key little tips for you guys that would be really helpful here. Okay, so now he's starting to hit him. We can see the druid came out. He doesn't have any hots on him. Whatever. He blade danced the hunter or fake death. I don't know why he did that during blade dance. That was a misplay by him. And you can see the hunter uses this ability. You can see it on Gladius. This is Roar of Sacrifice. This reduces the damage. This reduces the crit, the opportunity to crit on the hunter, and basically should be treated as a defensive cooldown. So when this happened, Goon should switch targets. The hunter has all the hots. Druid has no hots. Hunter has a defensive up, so he should stop hitting him. His Disc Priest should hit whatever he can, but yeah, Goon shouldn't. So he goes over here. That's a great swap. Druid goes bare for him, but he doesn't have any hots. It's actually still a good target. He used Mana Burn without stunning, so that's kind of an issue. What you should do on a DH is if you want to start pumping damage, and I wouldn't recommend doing it while he's in bear form, but when he went over to him, maybe could have caught him. You want to stun, and then you want to be doing damage into a stun, because while they're stunned, they're not getting any heals out, they're not using a defensive, they can't do anything. So it's a really good time. Stun, when people are stunned, that's a really big deal. We can see the hunter gets a trap here. Good job having Omnibar set up, but it's not a big deal. He hasn't blurred. It's not a big deal. No one cares. No one cares yet. The hunter's going to come over to connect on the DH, but that doesn't really matter either. Goon should probably have, maybe if he saw the hunter coming, he could have pre-blurred that, knowing that the CC is coming. The druid is clearly going to CC the Disc Priest. He probably should blur, or should have blurred here. That's okay. Or use darkness. Darkness is a good way to heal your defensive for your teammate, though. Darkness making it so you put a pool on the ground, and there's a 50% chance to miss your attack in that. And also, it just feels another serious defensive. Okay, so the druid went in, got a feared when he went to go bash Cyclone, so that's good. He did get the bash. It looks like his guy did trinket. So now this is a great. Goon switches onto the survival hunter, pressuring him with 1 rejuve. Doesn't matter. He's able to get a ton of pressure in blur. When you use a defensive like blur, you need to be charging him. You need to be doing damage. When you use defensives, don't run. Pump. That is like, it should be a quote. He's pumping Chaos Strikes. You can see him doing the twirls. He hit the pet there for a little bit. Misplay, but what doesn't really matter. Blade Dance. This is it. This is doing 9.2k DPS. He's pumping that hunter. Hunter's getting full dots. And now we see that Iron Bark comes out. Iron Bark is a cooldown by a Resto Druid on a 40-second cooldown. Okay, that is increasing the healing received by the Druid, and also reducing the damage taken. All around, the biggest cooldown a Druid has for his teammate. Now, here's the deal. Goon, you need to switch. As soon as you see this cooldown on your target, he needs to use one Fel Rush, and you need to be saving your Fel Rushes for switching targets. He needs to use one Fel Rush, get over to that Druid, 80% health, he's got no hots. This is a great opportunity, or he could backflip to him. But Goon's sitting on, yeah, Goon, you don't want to sit on the Hunter here. You want to be switching over. It would take one charge and you'd be able to get on him. Even if, you know, you can't quite connect 100% on the Druid, it's still worth it. So you cage him, which you probably could have caged. You probably should have caged the Hunter. So if he has all defensives up and he has all hots, you don't want to pump into that. CC him, because again, like I said, when a defensive is used, if I use a defensive, I need to go offensive. The Hunter got Iron Bark. That means he's going to start pumping. He's not going to care about his health. He knows he's going to get topped. So you should have caged him and gone our Druid. And by the way, this is probably the most critical I've ever been of anyone's gameplay. But that's just because I know Goon and we've talked about it and all that stuff. So, and this is what I'll do for you guys if you upload your videos. Upload your videos. Send them to me. All right. So here, the Hunter's even at 30%. And he's got a ton of hots. Iron Bark's over. He could go back to him, but even pressure the Druid here. The Druid is right here. Could mana burn. Okay, great mana burn. You need to just be doing. Now this is great. Now look. The Hunter. He switched off the Hunter at 40% health. Hunter's health hasn't really gone up a ton, and Druid is now at 60%. The pressure they have is huge. Even though he's trapped, it's not really that big of a concern. And now if he has Blur or he has Darkness, he could use that. But I don't even see an offensive cooldown from the Hunter. If they don't use offensives and you get CC'd, like if his healer gets CC'd and the Hunter doesn't use an offensive, just kite. But so here he was trapped. Let's back it up a little bit. He was trapped up until. So Goon's doing a good thing. We see a healer cooldown come out. When you see healers use big cooldowns like Tree Form, CC it, or in Goon's case, he can kite. Sure, his healer CC'd. He's the most mobile class in the entire game. He can get out of dodge. So what he's going to do is he's going to run away. But he only wants to run away if if he wants to not take damage and he doesn't have a defensive he can use so he can stay offensive, or if he just wants to waste the other team's cooldowns. It's a huge, great move to waste another team's cooldowns. He wants, okay, sure, he used Tree Form. If they get topped, okay, la-di-da. At least he's not taking damage. So here he's going to run away. So he runs away, but his Disc Priest is actually out right now. So a great move here would be if the Disc Priest could get a Fear on the Druid. It would surely lead to a Trinket, and then you could stun out or something like that, even though stun DR. So here Goon kind of overran. He's kind of way over here now. Like, unless they're going to 100% run against the Tree Form, there's no real reason to be over here. Now he's over here. He actually gets trapped, which is kind of weird. But basically, they're trapping him. They're kind of, removing him from the game so that they're just going to pressure the healer. Now Goon luckily just gets out. Wait a second. Goon, did you trinket a root? Where's your trinket? Oh, there it is. Bottom right. You can barely see it. That's actually hilarious. No, you didn't trinket. Yeah, dispelled. Okay. All right, so you're switching back to the Druid. Druid in Tree Form is actually... I wouldn't be hitting the Druid in Tree Form here just because he does have a... Tree Form gives him iron... I'm pretty sure it gives armor. And so... I don't know. It's not the worst thing in the world because you're pressuring him, spread pressure of his Hunter, but it's not that... It's not, not that great. You're in meta form now, spamming Chaos Strikes. The healer is not really no issues with the healer. A stun on the Druid is actually great while he's in Tree Form. It's wasting it. But he's going to pretty much top himself, and we know that he's going to do that. He actually also Barkskin. What is it? Oh, yeah, he used Barkskin. Okay. Yep, use Barkskin. Barkskin is another huge cooldown for a defensive for a Resto Druid, so you definitely don't want to be hitting him in Tree Form and Barkskin. Just trade off, run away, put him in a cage, walk away. And Barkskin reduces basically a pretty big cooldown, especially with Azurite trades. Can give you an absorption shield, can do a lot of things for you. So we'll just we'll keep going. So he's now, okay, his Barkskin's over. He's got some heals up, but it's okay. Sitting on him is okay. The Hunter used his sacrifice on himself. That was in misplay. He's probably doing that to reduce the damage maybe from the Disc Priest, but it's not that big of a deal. Disc Priest at 62%. He shouldn't be scared unless he's communicating it. I think Goon's going over to peel for his friend. 50% is it's fine. If you're at 50%, that's totally fine. Especially with his kick down. Who cares? Heal yourself up. That'll be fine. Actually, sometimes too with Disc Priest will go one-on-one with people. So he could go one-on-one with that Hunter over on the far side while Goon is one-on-one-ing Resto Druid. That's fine too. Okay, we see Iron Bark being used on the Hunter, and then a sick fear that comes out of the Priest. Now, if I was the Resto Druid, I wouldn't trinket because Iron Bark's up. You have one hot. It's okay. I wouldn't trinket it, but he probably, he didn't. Oh no, he did. Yeah, he trinketed out of the fear here because he's scared. But Iron Bark, like again, you're damaging into Iron Bark. You're doing a ton of damage, but I wouldn't even bother. I would switch over to the Druid. Even if the Druid has bear form, that means that the Hunter's going to sit at about 50% health. And then you're going to start getting pressure on the rest of the Druid. So here, he's just getting spam clone. Not really a big deal. He doesn't have a trinket, though. I'm not sure what he trinketed, to be super honest. Mana burning at this point in the game, sure, but you have all their cooldowns down. Iron Bark is down for 30 seconds. You need to be pressuring. Now, to be honest, he now has Bark Skin up as well. I mean, to me, pumping the Hunter's a really good option. Okay, so he got Trap and Darkness. So it's not, in this case, I'm not sure if we needed Darkness. Maybe he got scared and it was just lucky that the Trap went off. Hindsight's 2020. He's just pumping. See, he's pumping with limited hots. Great job. Iron Bark is back out. He needs to switch targets immediately to the Druid. Yep, so he's walking over Waddling, even with that little waste of time. Okay, so now the fear came out on the, as, you know, basically making the defensive on the Hunter worthless. The Hunter wasn't able to get that offensive pressure, but we see that the Druid gets that Cyclone, which is going to go, it's going to delay things. But it's okay. The Priest needs to do is either drag the Hunter away or bring the Hunter to Goon. Now, actually, Goon DC'd. He gets back in the game. But he's pretty much dead. But that's kind of, yeah, oh, the Priest died. So he just kind of got womboed in that, probably with a bash from the Druid. But that's kind of how this gameplay, now this is, I kind of went really deep in this one, but it's all about using and applying pressure where you can maximize it. And then, you know, my biggest recommendations for this game is using your meta differently, using your I-beam out of meta form to make sure, you know, when you don't have meta up, so you can get back in it and keep pumping the right target, and getting your Disc Priest to either bring the target to you to hit them so that you can hit them, or to run them away. Like here, Tomb's okay, but maybe even in the open would be better, because then the Druid will be out in the open. If you want to go around the Tomb, our Druid likes being around line of sight. It's going to be annoying for you to get on him. It's going to be annoying in general. So being out in the open, maybe that's okay. The only thing you have to deal with is Cyclones and stuff. So, you know, one of those two different ways. But overall, I don't think it was that bad. You could see the damage before the DC. Like, Goon, you're pumping damage. The Priest is not pumping as much, but I think if adjustments of the damaging into cooldowns and also staying offensive is a really big deal. The other thing is I didn't see the Priest use Dome. I didn't see him use Pain Sup. You know, not a lot of that, but I also didn't see the Hunter trap very much. So, you know, I would say that pressure is it's the name of the game. The other thing about the Disc Priest that he should be doing to help you out, and the other thing I know you said you were doing, is keeping those purges up. When you have a fear on the Druid, like, you should be fearing to get Trinket, and then fear and make sure that the target you're on, whoever it is, has no hots. When you're hitting someone and they have no defensives up, but they have some hots, just purge them off. Get your Disc Priest to help purge too, to stay offensive. Now, clearly, Disc Priest is going to run out of mana, maybe before an Ardruid. Ardruid mana efficiency is garbo right now, but that's kind of it. So that's that game, guys. This is the level of detail I'm going to go, and I'm going to give you feedback. I definitely recommend everybody does this. Everybody should look at their own videos. I improve the most, I think, when I review my videos, especially when I review them with someone else. And now I'm reviewing them with all of you. So, guys, there's another video. There's another clip here. We're going to go ahead and watch it. I actually haven't seen this one. So against RMP, I'm going to imagine that they're going to go pretty defensive here. Netherwalk. Oh, shit. Okay, so Goon again. Used meta right away. I would recommend not doing that unless you're just going wombo offensive. We see Cauterize come out. You could purge that off. Disc should probably purge that off unless he's just panicking to stay alive. Yeah, you're wasting it. That's good. Okay, so you want to make sure they're not getting a re-stealth here. You're at 50%. They haven't used Vendetta. They haven't used Kidney. The step is used, though. So that's actually pretty good. You can use stuns or something on the... and then run away, and he can't really switch between targets. So your option, and did they already use Meteor? I don't think so. So yeah, you're kind of just, your meta's kind of wasted there. You want to live the first go with a Rogue Mage. You can counter pressure it by using offensives, but in general, like, you need to just make sure you do the things that make sure that you live. Now, being offensive, I actually really like that strategy, but like right now, for example, you're kind of just letting them reset. So they could be waiting for DRs here or just cooldowns. Like, they win if you don't go in on them. So like, you should be going in and you should be pumping them and forcing them to use cooldowns, forcing them to live, and that's what you should try to do. Now, Cauterize isn't he doesn't have combustion anymore, so you don't really need to keep him clean. But at the beginning of the game too, Priest should just purge him clean. and you should purge him clean, because then as soon as he uses combustion, he has no other buffs up, and he could be fine. Now here you're kind of in deep. Your priest is right behind you though. Should be okay. The only problem is he could blink poly pretty quick. Now I don't see. Oh, we see this. Ooh, what is that? Okay, we saw the blind used. He's gonna have to trinket that, but if he trinket, see, look, the mage knows he's gonna trinket the blind, so he's starting the polymorph. You have to watch out for that. He has to use premonition and be a boss at that. Now you have, let's see, you don't have vendetta on you. You're gonna get vendetted though if he gets polyed. If he gets polyed, you're vendetted. All right, you get kidneyed. All right. You're standing on top of him. Oh, also reverse magic here is also a really big thing. Forgot about that. All right, so you got marked of death. Oh, there's vendetta committed to you. It was actually committed really late. He should have committed it way earlier in the polymorph, in the kidney. He should have pumped you, and your response should be to blur or darkness or both, or stun him. Like, you need to respond with action. And then what you should do is after you do that like you go, get off me, rogue. And then that's when you pop your meta, and that's when you turn the tables. Like, you need to find this point where you flip the table, and that would be the point where you do it. Now again, all right, so here, now the rogue uses evasion. Don't hit the rogue anymore. Oh my god, you're dead? What? I didn't even see that happen. Okay, let me actually see what the hell happened here. I was just kind of going on the offensive. I thought you were living. I didn't see your health bar went to 0. So if we back up, what happened? Yep, so he's polymorphed. That's why. Now, do you have blur up? See, this is when you only use blur, you only use darkness, you only use go up in the air, you only use those things when your healer is in CC in this team against this comp. You want to use it as a way that you can live and survive. Now, what you could have done here, that's one thing you could have done, is use all your defensives to live. And I don't know if you did. I can't quite see the bar. Like where was Nether Walk? You actually had it up, actually. I can see it at the bottom. You had Nether Walk, which makes you immune to everything. So you could have waited out some C. The other thing you could do, and another thing a lot of people don't do in general, if you're on a DH, you're the most mobile class in the game. If you're on a lot of classes, you're the most mobile class in the game. You can see that he doesn't have a shadow step, which means AoE stun them and get the hell out. You need to backflip and fell rush around these pillars, around this pillar, and wait out the CC, which is incredible because if you wait out that CC, the DR's gone. They have nothing. They have 20 seconds before that DR resets, and you need to pump. Now he's just got chain polyed. If you reversed him, you would have lived. But of running away, you started to do at about 10%, 12%, but it's actually pretty close. Like, they used everything. If you guys made it through this one, you won. For sure. I actually thought you guys were about to win because the rogue popped everything. So he actually vanished, garroted the healer, so he couldn't do anything at the end there too. Now you got pumped. So yeah, using those things as soon as he gets CC'd, act and run away. You know, like that's what the hell? That's the name of the game. So guys, this is a little bit longer than I wanted to. I talked a lot more than I thought I was going to, kind of a deep diving, but this is kind of how I want to start reviewing some clips from you guys. So there's some more from Goon. I'm gonna have some more videos. So let me know in the comments below if you guys like this style. It's obviously in depth, but let me know. And I'm just gonna give you tips about all the different classes, whether it's not necessarily the 3K strategies, but these are things you should know about, and then your individual gameplay will take you where it takes you. Now guys, put down in the comments what you think, what other comps, what other people you'd like me to kind of, or classes you'd like me to review. Now go back to the beginning of this video, make sure you're uploading your clips right away, send them to me. I will review all of them on that, I promise. Goon sent me some more, so we'll do that again. And guys, like this video, sub to the channel, and we're gonna keep it going for you guys. We're gonna start to do more RBGs together. We're gonna start playing together. We're gonna just keep trying to help the community get better, guys. That's the new mission of this channel. We will see you in the next one. Take care.